So guys, the game plan to fight Fernando, as you guys can see, he was drastically taller than me, like everybody was back then, because I was fighting a little bit out of my weight class, but I loved it. Was to get on the inside and fight him on the inside. His long looping punches, at the end of those punches, they were very, very heavy, very, very hard. So we had a few techniques that we went over during camp, and you're gonna see them a lot on this one. It was called the jam. So after I threw my combo, I would stay inside and sort of angle to the edge of his punch and try to catch it wider, and then punch and catch him on the inside. So you can see me trying to do it there. And also there with my hook. That hook didn't land because his right hand was pretty heavy at the start there. We also wanted to implement a ton of angles. So every time I finished my combo, to pivot off or angle off in some way or another, just to get away from his power side. So in the first round, you guys can see me trying to catch him with that check hook on the way in, which is quite a rare thing for a shorter fighter to do against a taller fighter. But I felt that at the time it was actually working quite well. I could see his right hand coming, so I was trying to time it on the way in. And as you guys can see just there, after that combo, I pivot off, and after my hook, I throw my angle and move off, just so that every time after he covers up and looks straight ahead, I'm gone. And you guys can see I dropped him there with the jam as well, just a little bit back. And you guys will see that in the pads as well later in the video, the jam. I was working with Eugene, so it was pretty cool to pull that off and work. And the other angle that I take on the other side, which is quite odd, is sort of like a Lomachenko angle. You guys saw me just do it there on the rope, but it's a very, very hard angle to do when someone's moving. So Lomachenko is the best at it, and I've done a breakdown on his technique on my YouTube channel about the angles he cuts. But whenever he cuts them, the opponent's usually static. He's got one that he can move forwards and backwards with, but the main one that he uses, that I was just trying to use it on the rope, and again just there, I did it out of range. It didn't work because Groenhart was moving backwards, so it just ruined my punch. It's like a pocket angle, so it's really good to use in the pocket, nice and close, just doing a mic check, making sure that it was still flashing. Don't want to be talking to myself or have an empty video. So I've fought a few of these Surinamese fighters in my time, I think 3 or 4. And every time I've fought one of these guys, they've all been like concrete. So every time you hit them, everything's just extremely solid. Like, I don't know if it's their muscle density or their bone density. I don't know what they're made out of, but these guys are like concrete. So him, Reagan, Ursel, and there was another one. And each time I fought or trained with them, it was always the same thing. They were just extremely tough fighters, and obviously most of them are Dutchmen. Fernando was a Dutchman himself, so it was a huge milestone in my career to beat him. His brother was doing very, very well in glory at the time, and that was my goal, was to fight him. So that angle there that I just pulled off, that was the one that I was talking about. He stayed static on the rope, so it was possible for me to pull that off without too many range implications. Also, a benefit of the way that Fernando fought is everything he threw was very, very loaded up. So after I finished my combo, I could usually see his counter attack coming straight away, so I could slip or move my head. And even when I was out of range, his shots were quite loaded, so I managed to see them coming and always move, just like I did then. Also, the benefit of fighting a Dutch fighter is they're very caged up. I think most of the time it's even called a Dutch guard. So they bring their hands up, they cover their head, everything's very, very tight, and they stay very strong, and they wall up. But the benefit of that is you're able to just tee off and get some good shots off. It can be hard to get through sometimes, but eventually you will get through as long as you keep your volume up and you mix up the placement of your shots, so sometimes low and sometimes high. I think also in this fight, which we'll give him credit for, he actually knocked out, we didn't knock it out, but he loosened the front teeth in my mouth with a knee off the rope. So it was very, very hard to see him actually land it, but it hit me in the bottom of the mouth guard. So I didn't want to take my mouth guard out between rounds, because at that time it was just when the video was going viral, when the cornerman pulled the mouth guard out of his fighter, and the fighter's teeth were still on the mouth guard. So that was in my head when I was in the corner. I was like, huge, don't pull my mouth guard out, think all my teeth are out. And after the fight, sure enough, my teeth were super wiggly, and I actually lost one, and it's a fake tooth now. So Fernando managed to take a souvenir with him after this fight, which was one of my front teeth. So, but they're back in now, so it's all good. But as you guys can see, I'm still cutting these angles after my attacks, and I'm having huge success with it. So if someone's a very, very heavy puncher, this is a very good way to approach them. Every time after you attack, you angle off, and a good way to angle off is with a slapping left hand like I did just there. You slap your left hand and turn their body a little bit, and it makes it very hard for them to counter or even kick. So after you finish your combo, boom, you can throw a slap. Maybe I'll do a video on this one. And here I'm just using my arm to frame, and then I tee off a few shots on him. At this stage, Fernando was getting very, very tired. For this fight, I was fitter than him, which was good. So it always makes it nice when you're fitter than your opponent and you can keep working. And so that's what I did. I managed to put him down and get him an 8 count once earlier on in the fight. And other than that, I just outworked him and was a little more evasive and managed to get the win on this fight. And here, guys, this is the pad footage that I'm talking about. So as you can see, Eugene is a bit thinner than what he is now, but he's throwing that left kick up like Fernando did at the start of the fight. So obviously Euge did an extreme amount of homework for me to fight Fernando, and him holding these pads here, it's quite unique and quite special because he gave me the perfect look and the perfect attacks on the pads, and I got so used to it. When I went to the fight, it was like clockwork. And I love this raw footage as well. This raw footage is awesome. This was our old gym. You can see one of my mates, Sancho, in the background. A few of the boys are doing some MMA. The MMA group was very, very small back then. I think there was maybe about 10 of us max. I wasn't even one of the first ones. There was only about 10 of us, and there's a couple of them doing some there. I don't even think I was really quite into MMA at this stage, and it's obviously filmed on hand by my partner, which I think she's done a pretty good job, and it's very, very steady. But you can see me slapping, slipping, and angling off each time I attack. So when you go back and you re-watch the video, you're going to see a lot of these techniques now. And after every combo, I tend to move my head a little bit on the pads. You're going to see a few jams coming up as well. There's one just there. So after I pivot off, I have my shoulder up. I try jam Fernando's looping right hand. And yeah, there's Euge on point with the left kick again. Even I look a lot smaller then and a lot younger. That's the jam there. That's the exact jam. So jam the combo. That's what I dropped Fernando with. I jammed his hook, and then I threw a short right hook. So I jammed his right hook, and then I threw my right hook. So I jammed it here, boom, and threw mine, and managed to put him down. And we drilled that over and over and over again in these pad sessions, during these training sessions. And man, looking at this, it brings back some good memories, and I miss it. Also miss the old gym. The new gym's a lot bigger, a lot more space, a lot more people, but you know, this gym was pretty awesome too. There's a jam there. Boom, bam, bam. That's how it works. You jam the hook, and then you counter straight away, and you take a slight angle so that you're not jamming the punch at the peak of its power. You're jamming it a little bit earlier before it winds up. And that angle I did just before, that was the one I was speaking about with Lomachenko, how you can move forwards with it. There, I'm doing it there. So that allows you to move forwards or back. And my partner's gonna hate the fact that I haven't edited her voice out. I know it's coming.
Because you're small.
You can hear one of Euge's children in the background. I love this raw footage. It's just so unique. And like I said, it brings back a lot of memories. That was a draw just then, so I'm drawing the opponent in and then attacking as I stop dead. And I do that a few times against Fernando as well.
What size your other one? Large? Oh, those are large, the old ones?
Boom. That was a lot lighter. I think oh no, I don't know if I was faster, but I was lighter back then. I moved a little bit different to what I do now in MMA. there's a little more room for error in kickboxing with the bigger gloves. No room for error in MMA with those tiny gloves, as I found out in the weekend. But there we go, guys. So that was a breakdown, rough breakdown, more just me chatting about the fight with Fernando Groenhart. If you guys have any questions about that fight, just chuck the comments below. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share this channel, and if you want, I can break down another one of my fights. Just list the ones that you want me to break down. I got a few more days in here. I'm sure I can get them done.